Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Live Strong podcast. We are back again with another episode. I'm giving I live with a tree in this look today. I've moved my plants around, so I've just got one tree here today and just me in the video. Sorry that there was no YouTube video last week. If you missed it, there was some technical issues, but I'm hoping that this week zero technical issues and we are good to go. Also, recording today on my brand new iPhone, and I'm actually recording with the front camera, which I'm finding a bit trippy right now because I'm like looking at myself, but I should be looking at the camera. So I'm going to try and do that. I don't know if this is going to work. The real struggle of being this podcast host that I am, guys, is that sometimes I'll record the podcast and then like on my back camera, then I'll go look at my my phone when I'm done, and it's like stopped recording because not enough storage, or it will have some error. And then I'm like, I've literally just talked for half an hour and it didn't record. So this way I can see what's happening. Again, it's not ideal, but I am looking at getting a good camera in the coming weeks, month, before the end of the year. So then I'm hoping to record on that. We'll soon find out. But anyway, hopefully this all looks beautiful. Let's bring you a bit closer even. Like, let's get up and close and comfy as I'm like laying on my little lounge here with you all. I've missed the intro, but you know, it's me, it's Live Strong. Hello, welcome to the podcast where we talk about health and fitness, chaos, whatever. We talk about whatever we want because I run the podcast and that is how it goes. But let's start off with my highs and lows of this past week. Starting off with my high is that in the past, I think it must have been just over a week probably now. Yeah, just over a week now. We actually got our wedding video back, which was super exciting. We got married in March, end of March, the last day of March. So it's been like ages, pretty much 6 months till we got our video, which is fine. Video was a slay, like it was a great edit. Loved watching it, but like also like you can watch the whole ceremony and stuff, and I'm also like, it's a bit cringy, like watching yourself up there. I don't know. So I think it's more a thing like in a year's time or 10 years time, we'll sit down and watch it all. I really should sit up straight, shouldn't I? Look, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry about my posture. But yeah, the actual edit video was really good. I put it on our Instagram page if you wanted to check it out, but I was like, is it a thing that you share or do you just keep it to yourself? Like, I didn't really know. But this 5-minute video was so bloody expensive that I was like, why only show so many people? Like, anyone who wants to watch it, bloody watch it, because this was expensive and it was a slave of a day. So why not share it with the world, you know? So that was a high. Low of this week, I've just been really tired this week, which is like not ideal. So tired that like I haven't been feeling like myself, which is a bit iffy. Don't really know why, no real reason, but I've been having naps. I'm not a huge napper, but I'm not against napping, especially when like my normal sleeping pattern is like less than like the recommended amount, or you know, essentially less than what I need to sort of feel my best. So having that sleep in the middle of the day isn't the end of the world, but this is the first week. I think maybe because like the challenge has started, which the challenge time is always the busiest time of the year for me, but the weeks leading into the challenge are the hardest. And then once we're actually in it, like we have everything set in place that we just are now like coaching sort of thing. So there's a lot of behind the scenes work that happens in organization and whatnot, where now it's just like doing the thing. And I guess that's the easy part for me because it's essentially like problem solving and communicating that to people, which is what I like to do. So, yes, a lot of the time I don't have time to nap, but like this week I honestly just like, I was feeling like so off that I was like, if I literally just don't do nothing for an hour, I like may not be able to go to work in the arvo. That was my vibe. So that's been a bit of a, that's not nice because you don't want to feel gross. You want to feel good, don't you? So that's like how my week's been. But overall, it has been a pretty good week. It's been a public holiday week here in New South Wales. But I did work all day Monday. So it wasn't a public holiday for me. That's fine. I chose to do that. I'm the boss and I do what I decide to do. And that's what I decided to do. Now, recommendation for the week. I was thinking about this one, guys, because the sun is out, summer is coming. I don't know when summer comes, but like it's very soon, isn't it? Like December, which is like, 6 weeks away maybe? And this is my reminder for you guys to wear your SPF 50 on your face every single day. No matter your age, no matter your gender, you should be wearing sunscreen on your face. It's going to help you have that young skin forever. Plus, also, melanoma is a thing. Like, get that sunscreen on your face. There's so many beautiful sunscreens for your face out there, but everyone should be doing it. Everyone. There's like lots of different ones you can get. My favorite one is the Mecca brand, like the actual Mecca brand. It's in a black little pumpy tube one. And I think you can get it both in like normal and like tinted moisturizer. I think I've just had both. I don't really know what it is, if I have had both or had one. But yeah, if you're not wearing SPF, I challenge you to go get some SPF. You want to get face moisturizer. You want something that's like good for your face, especially if you have some form of sensitive skin. Here I am saying all my skin tips of someone who like literally has like the reddest skin in the world. But I think I'm stuck with this in my life, so I tried my best to control it. But yeah, guys, that's my tip. Sunscreen. Put it on, wear it. You should wear a hat as well. We're being sun safe this summer. Well, I'm actually going to the winter for 6 weeks of summer this year. So like I'm missing summer, which a lot of people are like, oh, are you sad about missing summer? You know, missing half of summer. I'm like, hell no, get me out of here. Get me out of here. Get me to the cold, please. That's where I live my best life. Like, fuck. My mics, guys. I've literally lost my mic. Oh no. Brother. My brother. I'm not even joking. Oh, there it is. Wow, what a kerfuffle of a time that was. What was I talking about? Winter anyway, who cares? Winter, slay. Let's get into this week's topic. Woo. Okay, guys, I've given up on my handheld mic. We're just doing the double mic on the shirt now. But like, you would really think, team, that I would have got an actual mic by now, like something that I can hold in my hands that isn't like crazy, but I haven't, have I? So here we are, still with the double mic situation, doing a makeshift. Now, today's episode is all about tracking your macros. Now, I thought perfect time to talk about this in light of our 8-week challenge, which started this week, where a good chunk of our clients have started tracking their macros, maybe for the first time or they're going back to it or whatever it is. So I wanted to talk about like what it is, why you do it, who should do it, and maybe give you a few tips on doing the tracking situation. Because I think in the health and fitness world, a lot of people talk about things as if everyone knows what they're talking about, but your general population do not know what you're talking about. And it gets talked about as if you should know, and then you're like, well, I'm not going to ask because I think everyone knows this. Well, like, actually, no one knows this stuff. Like, if you haven't done this before, you haven't looked into this, you haven't been coached for this, like, you don't know. And that's so fine. And that is what I'm here to do, is to help you guys understand these things. So starting off with, what is tracking your macros? Like, what does that even mean when I say those words? So let's break it down. Macros. Macros is meaning macronutrients. Our macronutrients is included with 3 different tiers. We've got our protein, we've got our carbohydrates, and we've got our fats. Me being like, I don't know what the other one is. Obviously, it's our fats. Now, this is obviously in like a very simple setting. Also, as a little disclaimer, I should have said this already, but I haven't. My qualification is I am a sports nutritionist. Nutritionist being the key word there. I have a very, let's say like a base and basic qualification in nutrition. I'm definitely not the most educated in this space. There's a lot more educated people out there as well. So when I work with people with their nutrition, I'm talking to people generally with general goals and to give them general guidelines for a healthy individual. So you may be someone who has some health conditions, or maybe it's had past history with an eating disorder, or something that is a little bit more niche, or something that is outside of my scope of practice. I would be then referring you off to a dietitian or someone with a higher level of education. So just take everything knowing that that's who you get, and take all this information knowing that's who you get it from, you know? So we've got your 3 different macros. We've got your proteins, your carbs, and your fats. They make up everything that you eat. So you might have a piece of food like, what's a food? An egg, okay? An egg has protein and it has fat. So it has 2 of those things. Or you might have a food like a banana, and a banana is just carbohydrates. So you've just had carbohydrates. And then you can have meals where you include all of them in together. But every food has something in them, 1 of those or 2 of those or 3 of those. That's what makes up your food. That's what makes up your nutrition. Now, all 3 of those macros have different processes that they're in charge of in your side of your body. So we have them all for different reasons. We need all 3 of them to live our healthiest, happiest, most functional, most energized, most amazing life, okay? Very, very, very quick description. We're not going to go into all of them into great detail, but protein, we think of it building muscle, recovery, building blocks for all of that sort of shit. Carbohydrates, we're thinking energy, okay? We're thinking the thing that's got the brain ticking, it's got the muscles ticking, it's fueling you, okay? Energy. And our fats, hormones, eye health, hair health, all those sorts of things is over in our fats department. So they've all got different jobs, and we need all of them in different amounts. So when you have a specific goal, right, where we need a specific outcome in terms of your health and fitness, we may want to track how much we're having of all of those things to make sure that we're ticking the boxes for your goals. So a lot of people think that tracking is, you would do it when you're trying to eat in a calorie deficit. So when you're trying to eat less than you are exerting, okay? So we then need to know what that amount is. So we might track that. Or in reverse, when we're trying to gain muscle, we might track so that we know how much food we're eating to make sure we're eating more than the energy we are exerting, okay? But also some people might be tracking for just general knowledge, or they might be tracking for performance. So making sure that they're hitting certain targets, or it could be any sort of reason, right? There could be multiple reasons to why you track, but the main 2 general ones is because you want some sort of probably physical outcome with your body, like physique change of some form, and you're going to track to make sure that you're eating in line with your goals. So that is what it is. It is literally just recording what you're eating. Now, we're recording in terms of numbers, so making sure we're knowing the data. Like, we want to know the type of food, we want to know the weight of the food, because we want to be as accurate as we can. So that's what tracking is. Why people do it, sort of went through that. Like, they do it because they have a specific goal that they want to reach, generally physique-wise, and this is going to help us be as accurate as possible. Now, you don't need to track to hit these goals. Like, you don't need to track in order to lose body fat. Let's just use that as an example because that's the most common one. You don't need to track to do that. However, tracking is a tool that can be helpful in you achieving that goal. There's 2 main reasons why I would get someone who's trying to lose body fat to track. The first one is that it actually teaches you what is in your food, like for good and bad purposes. Like, people will look at an acai bowl, like, this is just a random thought, and people think acai bowl, healthy, fruit, whatever, right? An acai bowl is quote unquote healthy. It has lots of great nutrients in it. It's not going to impact your health negatively. However, what's good in an acai bowl is quite high in calories because it has a lot of carbs in it. Sometimes you get those spreads on it. You know, it adds up. So people think, oh, I'm having a fat loss goal. I'm going to pick this quote unquote healthier, lower calorie option by picking this acai bowl. Next minute, it's really high in calories. They didn't know that because they didn't actually know what was in it, right? In reverse, people might look at a Frodo frog and go, oh, well, I'm eating quote unquote healthy because I'm trying to lose body fat. I'm not going to have any sugar. I'm not going to have any sweets. I'm not going to have any Frodo frogs because that is bad for me. But when you actually look at the macronutrients of a Frodo frog, there's not that much in it. Is it okay to have one Frodo frog a day and still lose body fat? Yes, it is. So I find that people, guys, can you literally hear my voice? I sound like a man. I literally need to go and voice rest after this podcast. But people don't realize what they're eating. I think that it is helpful in educating people on eating, what foods, portion sizes, all that thing. Second thing is that if we're not tracking what we're eating, we don't know what to change for people to get results. Clients are telling me that they're doing X, Y, and Z, but I have no data to follow to know if they're doing X, Y, Z and what X, Y, Z looks like. So they might be like, I'm having a chicken wrap for dinner. They're starting for dinner. And they might be, and that might be all well and good, but they might be having like their chicken deep fried and then they're adding lots of cheese and they're adding aioli and then blah, 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 blah. You know, all those things add up in calories. And then I think, oh, they're just having this low in calorie chicken wrap. But in the sense, they're having double the calories at their dinner or whatever the thing is. So I find personally as a coach, it's a lot easier for me to make changes to someone's nutrition when we have the data. So we're collecting the data and we're learning about our nutrition. So that is why people track. People also don't track for lots of reasons. It can be something that can be quite addictive and feel quite restrictive for a lot of people. So some people who maybe have suffered with an eating disorder or have been hyperfixated on their nutrition, this may not be for them. And it's okay. Like I said, it's not the be all and end all of achieving your goals. It also can be time consuming, which I think is the other really big negative, that people think that this is the only way that they're going to succeed with their goal. They start doing it, they find it too time consuming, especially people with families. I find that can be a really tricky thing to add in. And then they just give up. They give up on their goal because they think they can't do it, but you probably could do it. And then the last little thing is like who should do it. I guess I've sort of just talked about it, but you know, you've got to be in the right mindset. You've got to be ready to commit to essentially measuring and tracking every single thing you're eating. Like it isn't a commitment and it is involving you thinking about every single thing you are eating. But if you have a specific goal, it can be beneficial. If the goal isn't involving you tracking, then you don't need to be tracking, right? So tracking is a tool that people use to get a specific outcome in their health and fitness journey because we are able to see what you're eating. That's literally what tracking is. Okay, guys, now that we understand what tracking is, why people do it, and who maybe should be doing it, or hopefully a bit of understanding, we're going to talk about a few tips here. Okay, so my first one is it's important that you understand your goals. So you need to understand, firstly, why you're tracking, like what is the outcome of you tracking? And then there needs to be a target carbs, fats, and proteins that we need to be hitting like each day. So you need to know what that is. There are macro calculators out in the world online, super easy to find for you to calculate these sorts of things. However, the issue with these calculators online is that the calculator doesn't know you as a person. So it takes as much data as it thinks is fit to be able to work that out for you. But I always think that when people do those and then they come to me, I always am needing to change their macros because I just never think that it perfectly calculates what you need. Because it can say like how much walking you're doing and all this sort of shit, but you as a person, you're unique doll and you need unique macros. Now, in saying that, when you receive macros or you have a target and you have a specific goal that you're going to be reaching for, that can change. Everyone's body is different and we all react different to different things. So that can change. Like we can think that we should be having this target, but in 2 weeks' time, we might have to change the target because either we've had heaps of change or we've had no change. So like the numbers that you see once is not like the perfect number. Or if you were tracking your macros, let's say 2 years ago, you can't just chuck them in MyFitnessPal and just think, I'll just do that. Like, it'll be fine. No, you're a different person. You might have different muscle mass, different lifestyle habits. Could be anything, could be different, which might mean that you might need to change your goal. So you need to understand your goal, understand your target. You need to use a reliable tracking app. So a lot of people know of MyFitnessPal, which is probably the most common one. It is pretty expensive, which is honestly the biggest downfall of the app. But I still haven't found an app that is as easy to use when you're paying for it. So there was another app we used with dietitian we used at the gym, which was called Easy Diet Diary, which I also thought was good. It was free, which was like one of the best parts. But in saying that, you had to put in a lot more food yourself, which I think turns people away. Like, obviously everyone wants convenience. And myself as a coach, I can't look in the back end as easily in Easy Diet Diary. So for me, MyFitnessPal is working best at the moment. But you need to use something that is going to have reliable food sources in there so that when you're putting in your food, you're not just chucking in whatever. And to be honest, like MyFitnessPal, anyone can put in anything. So some things aren't reliable. It's important that you're putting in either foods in yourself or using ones with the green ticks or whatever color ticks next to it. You need to be tracking in advance. This is probably literally the biggest tip to tracking is tracking in advance. If you track anything after you have ate it, if you track it after you've ate it, boo-boo. Because you're not going to know where that sort of fits in the jigsaw puzzle of your day. Like, we think about our whole day as a bit of a jigsaw puzzle. We've got to fit in all of the right foods so that it can equal what we want it to equal the right amount of protein, the right amount of carbs, and the right amount of fats. That can be hard. So if you've eaten something and then you put it in after, like, what are you going to do if you're like now 200 grams over your protein? That would be really hard to do. But like, maybe you ate a whole chicken. Don't know. But you know what I mean? Like, you've got to track it before you eat it. In saying this, I think you will succeed if you track the day before. So before you go to bed, you've already tracked the day before. So all you've got to do that day is get up and eat the food that has already been planned. Now, in saying that, you might get to the brekkie and go, oh, I don't feel like whatever I thought I was going to feel like yesterday. You can still change it. Like, there's still room to change things, but at least you've got a plan. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm going to change my breakfast, but now I need to have some more carbs in my day. Okay, well, I'll add in a banana. Great, I'm still on track. So you can make changes, but you need to be planned ahead. Like, I don't know anyone who can track their day as they go and hit their targets perfectly at the end of the day. And if they can, they have tracked for a very long time. Like, they can only do that because they have tracked for a long time. So, like, and people don't listen to me when I say this. I can only tell people this so many times. Like, and there's no other way for me to be like, if I'm like, you need to eat more carbs, here's my tips for you to eat more carbs. But if you're not going to plan to eat more carbs, you're not getting more carbs. Like, you need to plan ahead, people. Plan ahead. You need to be weighing and measuring your foods, okay? Eyeballing your foods can be done once you have tracked for a long period of time. I can eyeball things like pretty good now, but not everything. Like, I still weigh things. Even when I'm like, pastas and stuff, like, I still weigh out my pasta to make sure that I've split it up evenly and stuff like that. Like, I know that roughly 2 slices of shortcut bacon is 50 grams. Like, I know that because I've ate a lot of bacon and I've tracked for like 5 years, maybe. Not all the time, like I don't track right now, but on and off when my goals change. Like at the beginning of the year when I was in my wedge shred, I tracked. And I was in my wedge shred for about 8 months. I tracked for the whole 8 months, okay? Like, no joke. No joke, okay? So you need to be weighing your food. Can it be annoying? Yes. Can you never bother to do it? Yes. Like, but do you have to do it? Yes. Okay? Like, if you're putting in your food, but you're putting in the completely wrong quantity, it's literally, there's no purpose in you doing it. If you're struggling to find the time, you're getting over it, keep your meals simple. Repeat your meals. Like, make it easy for yourself. okay? In MyFitnessPal, you can copy and paste over meals and copy and paste over days. So, like, if you're eating the same breakfast as yesterday, just copy that bitch over. Like, you don't need to add it all in again. You don't need to do anything. Just copy it over. Easy. You can save meals in MyFitnessPal. So if you have, like, tacos once a week, save your tacos. Have it again next week. You don't have to put it in individually again. You can change your amounts. Let's say 1 week you have cheese and the next week you have no cheese. You can change that, people. But in saying that, I didn't have to put in all of my ingredients again. So keep it simple. There's nothing wrong with eating simple, okay? I know people just go, I need exciting food. Maybe sometimes yes, maybe sometimes no. What are your priorities? That's what I want to know. Focus on accuracy, not perfection. Now, this is meaning that we're trying to do it the best we can most of the time. Sometimes shit happens. Sometimes you end up having a different dinner. Sometimes you end up forgetting your scales. That's okay. However, if 90% of the time we are as accurate as possible, overall in our week, our outcome is going to be better. Okay? So rather than half-assing the whole thing, give it your all. And when you slip up, you miss something, whatever, it's not the end of the world. Prioritize your protein, okay? Our protein for a lot of people can be our hardest thing that we get. It also should be what we build our meals around. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We should be thinking about what our main protein source is going to be first, and then we think about the items around it. So, let's say I'm having, today specifically, I'm having a wrap for lunch. I know I am. And I know I'm having chicken on it. The rest of the shit, it will come. I don't know what the rest of the stuff is, but I know that I'm having a chicken wrap because I know that my chicken has been the focus. Okay, so you need to think about what the protein is going to be and plan your day ahead. If you don't know what the protein is going to be, this is why we use our tracking app. Look at the different foods. Look what you're having in your breakfast. See what meal has the most protein. Does anything have protein? No, you need to find something to add to it, okay? Plan ahead for social events, okay? If you know that you're going out for dinner, let's look at the menu. Let's see if we can guesstimate and put in some tracking so that we can plan the rest of the day around it. You can track when you go out and you can still eat foods that you enjoy, okay, people? Eating out isn't the devil. It is not. It's still just food. It's still just food. The whole thing about tracking is literally, like I said at the beginning, it's just tracking what you're eating. It's not saying this is bad, this is good, that's naughty, you can have that, you can't have that. It's not saying that. It's literally we're just seeing what you're eating. So if you're not tracking things because you're like, oh, this is naughty, I'm just not going to track it. Track that thing because that's what you're putting in your body. Don't lie to your body. That's all it is. It's not bad or good or anything like that. Your food doesn't have emotion. Your food doesn't have a personality. Your food is just food. Your food is just food. Okay? But planning ahead for social events is going to be helpful. I've just gone into this, but use it as a tool, not as a restriction, because it's not restricting you from doing anything. It's helping us know what we need to do to reach our goal. If you one day have you're it's my birthday, well, probably shouldn't be tracking on your birthday, but let's say it's my sister's birthday, okay? So I knew I'd planned ahead for dinner, but then when we got there, we had a few extra drinks. I had a bit more food than I thought. Are you going to die? No. Can you just pick up where you left off the next day and just get back on track? Yes, okay? And, maybe we track our food and we go, oh, actually, I didn't eat as many calories as I thought I did. Or, oh, wow, I picked really high calorie drink choices. Maybe I can make a better choice next time. It's a learning lesson. It's a tool. It is not a restriction. And lastly is be consistent. We need the data. We can only make changes if we have the data there. So if you haven't had progress in 10 weeks or you haven't had progress in 10 days, whatever it is, or you've made heaps of progress, we need to know why or why not. We don't know that if you're not tracking everything, you're not tracking most days, you're not tracking when you have high days and low days and all these sorts of things. So you need to be consistent. Consistency is key. Consistency is the key literally in everything in life, people.